Hi, Janine here from Gentle Warrior. I want to do a quick video on a topic that I don't think many of us address, and that is being the strong woman, being resilient. Not only strong women, strong men as well, don't get me wrong. All those memes we see on Facebook and naturally I'm all for strong women, strong men, and I'm all for resilience. But it's just being careful where that energy is coming from. Because if it's in certain circumstances coming from a different style of energy that I'll speak to you more about, then that being a strong person and being resilient can lead to big mental health issues, which will lead to some really big health issues as well. So what happens in some situations, not all, we may be in a situation that is really fired up, where it needs our immediate attention, where we need to jump into action, we need to make important decisions. And what normally happens is that will fire up our vagus nervous system. Then we respond in certain ways. We're either going to fight and flight, we're going to freeze, or we're going to fawn. So in fight and flight situations, we tend to then jump straight into action where we are able to make important decisions and take that immediate action that is required in these extreme situations. There is nothing wrong with this. We're designed like this. This comes in handy in situations where you do need to act fast. This comes in handy in situations where if you've got somebody chasing you and you've got to get out of a very dangerous situation, it's that fight and flight that fires you and you go and you run to safety. It's these kind of instances that adrenaline does help us when we are in danger. So in the situations that I'm talking about, where we go into this fight and flight, in a lot of cases, in order to do that, means they have to disconnect from their emotions to succeed in that, okay? So that we don't get overwhelmed by the extremity of the situation, and we're able to function and to move through everything. And the example that I can give is only my examples is in the passing of my mom. When she died in those 15 days and all the actions needed even after, it was so extreme that I needed to be able to move as fast as she was passing. And from diagnosis to death was 15 days for her. There was no breathing room or wiggle room in between. But what we tend to do is we don't know we've disconnected from our emotions, and then we forget to reconnect. So in my situation with my mom, I was a very strong woman. I was very resilient, but I would be going home every night. I'd be aware of what was going on, and I would connect back into me and into my emotions, and I would sob, I would grieve, I would I'd sit in the emotions of the extremity that I was involved in. I would allow all of that to flow through. And then the next day I'd have to get up and I'd be back at the hospice, back at the hospital, back with doctors, and I would be fight and flight all over again, disconnecting in order to make these important decisions and to not fight for my mom, but to make sure she was passing with dignity and in comfort. And then coming back and switching back in again. And so that is really important, is to make sure that you are switching back on. Because otherwise, if you are staying disconnected, all of this energy, this adrenaline, all of the extremity, the traumas, the shock, everything is cycling in and constantly in your body, which will become major triggers that will keep living and cycling in you. The second thing is, even after everything I needed to do during and after my mum's passing, and even switching back on again, in between, I was exhausted from the extremity of those situations, and I allowed my body to rest. And now, believe me, I would have preferred just a few weeks, but my body has taken long to rest. But it needs that period to be able to digest and to all of that information to flow and energy to flow through, to break the cycles and the triggers, and to just sit with it and allow it to exit you. And that can take a while. And I'll do another video on active resting. That's a whole different video, and which is where I'm at now, is active resting. But that was resting as in deep sleep. The third thing is be mindful of where your energy is when you're becoming the strong warrior, the the strong woman or the strong man, whatever it is. Because in some situations, it actually becomes a crutch. It's like a coping mechanism. We use it because we'd rather be running around making all these things. We'd rather be running around in the crazy, keeping ourselves so busy that we're not looking at what is going on within us. And so we use it as a coping mechanism, and we use it as a distraction to not feel or embrace or understand what is going on in us, like anything rather than deal with what's going on here around the extreme situations. In the case of my mom, I was coming from pure heart-based energy. I was fully aware of what was going on. I was fully aware of what I was doing, why I was doing it, and I was allowing myself everything that was needed in between. It absolutely floored me, yes. But with many of us, it's used as a coping mechanism. So please, if you are doing it, to not address what's going on inside, you will hurt yourself mentally, which will hurt you, your health in general as well. So please go out and be your beautiful, strong woman and strong men and be as resilient as you want, but be careful where it's coming from. And remember, switch back on, rest, and don't distract. Much love to you. Bye.